Literacy 1 with Teacher Ben, Learning Facilitator at Yaaka Digital Learning Network. So last week, we discussed about transport, and we were able to identify the different types of transport and also give the different means of transport. I want to say that we are very grateful that we finished that last week. So this week, we are going to introduce a new topic that is handled in primary 2, that is second term, that is child protection. That's what we are going to look at today. So under child protection, we shall look at child abuse. We shall look at child abuse. After looking at child abuse, we shall be able to look at the roles and responsibilities of children at home. And that one will be later. But strictly for today, we are going to start with child protection. Under child protection, we shall be discussing about child abuse. We usually hear this word, child abuse. So we need to understand what child abuse is. That is what we need to understand today. We need to understand what child abuse is. We are very grateful that we finished something about transport and communication. When we started with communication. We finished that. We moved on to transport. We also finished looking at the different 4 types of transport that we handle in primary 2. Now today, we have started a new topic, and that is child protection. So under child protection, we shall strictly be looking at child abuse. Child abuse. Most of us have always heard about these words, child abuse. Child abuse. Or maybe before we look at child abuse, we need to understand who is a child. Hey, we need to understand who a child is. Yeah, so we need to understand what child abuse is. I see a lot of complaints from some parents who are failing to join. I don't know what the problem is, but let them keep trying to join so that they can catch up with the engagement. There is another class going on at the other side, but I think the same problem is happening there. So let's continue. So we need to understand who a child is before we look at the word child abuse. Who is a child? I need someone to explain for us who a child is. If you know the answer. Yes, Musmenta, who is a child?
A child is a person who is under 18 years of age.
Very good. Very good. A child is a person below the age of 18 years of age. As simple as that. That is a wonderful answer. Usually at school, we always hear, you find children coming that, teacher, you see this one has abused me. What is an abuse? How can you explain the word abuse? Someone may be having an idea. What is an abuse? What is an abuse? You may be having issues. You may be having an answer. I see Musme, okay. Let me give to Rafa Nondo. Rafa. Rafa, you first unmute, then speak. I think he has he has put off his hand. Who knows what an abuse is?
Yes.
Robina, can you tell us what an abuse is?
It's a mistreatment.
Sorry? No, I can't hear you well.
I was saying that it is a mistreatment.
Hey, Nondo has said it is a mistreatment, but I see Praise's hand up. Praise, can you say something?
I had the same answer.
Aha, so Praise also had the same answer, mistreatment. So abusing does not mean that someone can only say maybe kumanyoko, like at school. Children say, some say kumanyoko, some say what different ways. So it is not about only mentioning. It's not about only saying that it is not only verbal. An abuse may not be only verbal. It can be anything, any bad thing that you do to someone. Anything bad that you do to someone, that is an abuse. That is an abuse. So these days, it is very common that you find every time children are abused. Children are abused at school. Children are abused in the community. Children are abused at home in different ways. And that is what we shall need to talk about today. So before we move on any further, we need to understand what an abuse, not even we have understood what an abuse is. We have said that an abuse is simply mistreatment. Is simply mistreatment. And then we also defined, we gave the meaning of the word child. We say that a child is a person below 18 years. And that is a child, and the answer is very correct. And another person has told us that an abuse is mistreatment. So I need now somebody to put down those words together and give the meaning of the words child abuse. This we are just going to raise our hands up, or if not, since I want, people may delay typing, but I need you to just say it. If you know the definition of child abuse, please raise up your hand and then give us the meaning. I need very many people. Maybe you may be having different answers. I see Musmenta's hand up. Please, Musmenta, what is child abuse? Then after Musmenta, Aber. Kayla will also give us the answer. Yes, Musmenta?
Child abuse is mistreatment of children.
Very good. Child abuse is the mistreatment of children, just as Musmenta said. Aber, can you also give us yours? Yes, Aber. You unmute, then speak. Aber is not speaking, but we have the same answer. You know, even Aber has the same answer. Child abuse is the mistreatment of children by who? By an adult. By an adult. An adult is a person who is above 18 years of age. Anybody who is above 18 years is regarded as an adult. That one is an adult. As simple as that. So we need to know that. So children are always mistreated by adults, by people who are above 18 years of age. As simple as. So let's take a look at what we have to write about child abuse, because this is what we have been talking about. What is child abuse? Here is the definition. That is the meaning. You can simply say child abuse is the way how a child is mistreated by an adult. Is a way how a child is mistreated by an adult. As simple as that. As simple as that. This is the way how a child is mistreated by an adult. That is child abuse. I need everyone to know that, because we shall ask you in your examination. So you must be able to give the meaning of the words child abuse by simply saying it is a way how a child is mistreated by an adult. As simple as that. How a child is mistreated by an adult. I say, Israel, you're speaking. Please mute your microphone. If you have something to say, raise up your hand. If you have something to say, just raise up your hand, and then I will ask you to speak. If you raise your hand. Okay, so let's move on. I see Musmeta's hand up, or you need to lower it after you've asked the question or after giving the answer. Okay, that's good. So that is what you need to know about child abuse. It's simply the way how a child is mistreated by an adult. As simple as that. So we also need to move on and talk about ways how children are mistreated, ways how children are abused, ways how children are abused. There are very many ways how children are abused. For this case, I want each one of you to turn to the chart and write their ways, as many as you know, ways how children are abused in different places. Namusoke, please don't write on our screen. Don't write. If you do so, I will put you off. Please remove that on our screen. So turn to the chart and write for us the ways how children are abused. So I was telling you that children can be abused in different ways. Children are abused in different ways. They are abused in different ways at home, at school, in the community, or in any place. Children are abused. So we are looking at the ways. How are they abused? So use the chart and give the answer. Musmenta has given us a good one. Thank you. Darling, thank you so much. I'm still waiting for other people to also give theirs. Feel free to give your answer for everyone to see. Abel has told us that by not giving children food, it's one of the ways how children are mistreated. Musmenta, good answer. Thank you. Others should also give theirs. Ways how children are mistreated. There are very many ways, over 10 ways, how children are mistreated. Amara, Abigail, good answer. Rafa Nondo, good answer. Good answer. The rest can also give theirs. Then we shall be able to look at them one by one. There are very many. There are very many. Very, very many. Praise. By not taking them to school, it is correct. By not giving them water, that's pop. Correct. Amara has given another one, heavy punishment. Correct. Abera said by beating them. It is correct. The answer is correct. We shall give them, we shall list them after everyone has given theirs. We shall list them down and then we write in our books. Ways. It's good that most of us have passed through that. Some of you were beaten at home. You were also beaten at school. And just like that. But we don't say that beating is bad. What we don't allow is corporal punishment. Corporal punishment is overbeating. Someone beats you, gets one stick, finishes that one, gets another one, like that, like that. Beating is supposed to be, if you want to discipline, for us, we can discipline children by giving one hot one in the buttocks. Let's give one. But the bad thing for you guys who are still young, those in P2, P1, P3, even P4, they don't have what to beat. Their bums are still too small. So we can't beat them. But at least those big ones, we can give one K. Israel has given another one. This can be rape or sexual, sexual abuse, which can be rape or defilement. If someone tries to do that, you must be able to report that straight away to your parent. Someone is trying to do something bad to you, be able to report that straight away to your parent. Okay, so I think we need to look at them as I've listed. Many of you have tried to give yours. Ruth said by slapping them is the same as that. Nathan has said, by pushing them. When you push them, maybe they can fall down and then they get an accident. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at these ways how children are abused one by one. Look at the screen. The other one is defilement. Defilement. Defilement is when a young person gets involved in sex. A young person who is below the age of 18 is involved in sexual act. That child has been abused. That child has been abused. I know when you continue up to P6, you'll get to know more and more about issues of defilement and the other things. And then the other one that is very common is this one. That is kidnapping, stroke, abduction. Most children these days are being abducted. You're just at home alone and then someone comes and takes you away. That one is someone you don't know, takes you to a place which is not known. That one is what we call kidnapping. It's so interesting that even these days, they can even kidnap someone who is big. They can take away someone, a big person, to a place which is not known. That one is still abduction, and it is called human rights abuse. But for young children, it is one of the ways how children's rights are abused, abduction or kidnapping. So how do you avoid this? You have to make sure you don't associate with new people you do not know. If you don't know them, don't move to them, even though they are telling you, come, oh, let's go this way, like that. You don't accept because you don't know them. If you accept, they take you, they take away your head, and then you die. So you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful. If you accept to move anyhow, they will take your head. Then the other one is this, child sacrifice. I was happy that a Musmenta talked about this, and one other person, child sacrifice. Child sacrifice. Even child sacrifice, someone comes, takes away your head, and then they take to the, maybe to the witch doctor, they like that. So you have to be very careful. You have to be very, very careful. So child sacrifice is not allowed in the community because it is one of the ways how children are mistreated. And remember, child sacrifice leads to death. It leads to death because when they sacrifice you, maybe they want to take your head. If they take your head away, you die. So we have to be very careful. You don't move with strangers. If you start moving with strangers, there you get affected. Then the other one is this child neglect. Some parents also neglect their children. They leave their children there. You just leave them there, they go away. So that one is one of the ways how children are mistreated. When you leave your child there alone, there is nothing that the child is eating, you're very hungry, and then you're just there eating, moving up and down. When your parent leaves you, it means that that is when you will start moving up and down, and when you start moving up and down, the kidnappers will get you and take you away. And then when they take you to the bush, they can sacrifice you. So we have to make sure as you grow, you have to make sure that you don't neglect anybody, not even your sister, not even your child, like that, so that they don't get affected, they don't die. They can die if you neglect them because the kidnappers will get them and take them away. As simple as that. So that is child neglect. It is very common. Some people throw their children away. You find the child has been thrown in the latrine. A child has been thrown outside a certain gate. So all that. So I see Nondo's hand up. Is anything? Nondo, is there anything you want to say? Okay, so let's continue. We are talking about child neglect. The other one is the harassing. A child is there, and then you're coming with a very loud, tough voice, harassing the child. It is one of the ways how children are mistreated. A child gets belittled, ashamed. When a child gets ashamed, he cannot participate again. That's why, for us, we don't really harass young children so much. It is not good for you to harass a child using a very tough voice and like that. It's not good. It is one of the ways how people mistreat their children. Maybe someone can ask a question. Do our parents also mistreat us? Do they abuse us? Do they mistreat us? It is true. Yes, the answer is yes. Sometimes they can harass you badly. Some of them can even neglect. We have even had some that have sacrificed their children because they want to be rich. Some have defiled their children. So we have to be very keen with such kind of things. We need to find ways of avoiding such things. Maybe when we continue, we shall have to.
What is the?
Sorry?
What is defiling?
What is defiling? I need someone who may be having an answer. If you have an idea about defilement, you help us so that we can move on. What is defilement? Someone has asked us that we have talked about defilement, but what is defilement? What is defilement? It's a common word that it is always used. And okay, let me hear from Praise. What does she have to say? Okay, Praise is not speaking.
To sell children.
Sorry?
To sell little children.
To do what? Praise, I didn't hear you well. Okay.
To sell children.
I didn't hear very well, but we can move on and give a simpler definition of the word defilement. Defilement, in simple terms, as a P2 child can say, is when a big man or a big person spoils a young person. Usually, girls are mostly affected by defilement. An old person, in simple terms, an old person comes to spoil a young girl by playing sex with that young girl. We shall get to know, we shall get to learn more about that, about defilement when we get to P6. We shall learn that very, very well. So anything related to sex is very bad. It's very bad. It leads to defilement. There are a lot of bad things that can happen if someone does that to you. So in simple terms, defilement is spoiling the young child. Spoiling the young child. Yes, please. Yes.
How does the person spoil the young child?
We shall get to know that if we continue. For now, you may not understand more about that. More about that. But what I can say, as a young child, don't allow anybody to touch you. Anybody to touch you, especially touching your private parts. When you allow someone to touch your private parts, definitely that one is what we call defilement. Nobody is supposed to touch and see your private parts. Nobody is supposed to do that. As simple as that. So you don't have to allow anybody to do that. When you allow anybody to do that, to play around with your private parts, that is what we call defilement. And it is not allowed. If someone does that, you have to report. You have to report that to police. Not even to police, but you start with your parent. You tell your parent that, so-and-so did this to me, and it was bad. So you have to tell your parent that. so that you can be helped. I see Nathan's hand up. Yes, Nathan.
I wanted to ask what is kidnapping?
You wanted to give what kidnapping is? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, you go on.
That's all. I wanted to ask what kidnapping is.
You want to know what kidnapping is?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We are going to look at those words one by one. One by one. We have looked at defilement.
What kidnapping is?
Okay, that's good. Next time you have to raise your hand up before you speak. You first put your hand. Okay. You first put your hand up so that I can choose you. Then you can speak. As simple as that. So let's move on to look at those words one by one. Let me repeat about kidnapping. Kidnapping is when someone takes away, steals a child. You steal a child from their home. You take to another place which is not known, with the aim of maybe killing or sacrificing that child. So when someone steals you, someone you don't know, steals you from your place or steals you on the way, because sometimes you're coming back from school and then someone gets you on the way, takes you to a place you don't know. From there, that act there, that habit is what we call kidnapping. It is also called abduction. Someone has been just taken from nowhere. They take you to another place that you don't know, in the bush. So that is kidnapping. Then for a case of sacrifice. Sacrifice is still when a child is taken, like you. Someone will come and grab you, takes you to another place, and then cuts your, can cut your head away. That is what we call, child sacrifice. And then child neglect is when a person leaves their child. The person leaves the child there, and then there is nothing the child can do. It is very, very bad. You leave the child after producing, then you go and throw the child somewhere. So that is what we call child neglect. It can also happen at home. Someone may not throw you, but someone will leave you at home. You don't have anything to eat. The parent has gone away. So that one is called a child sacrifice. That one is called child neglect. You leave the child there. You don't provide the child with the food, no water, no medical care, no school, no what, just like that. Yes, Nathan.
Teacher,
Yes.
when we start about kidnapping, someone was disturbing me.
You didn't hear about kidnapping?
Yes, someone was disturbing me.
Don't allow that person to disturb you whenever you're in class. Don't allow. Okay. So, okay. So we talked about kidnapping. We say that that is when a person takes you away. Someone gets you, someone you don't know, gets you on the way, takes you to a place that you don't know. And when they take you there, they can even kill you. So these people can even get you at home. If they are not people, they can get you at home and then they take you away. They get you on the way when you are alone, they take you away. So that's why you don't move when you are alone. If you move when you are alone, the kidnappers will get you on the way and they take you away. They take you to a place which is not known. And then sometimes you end up being killed. So it is a bad thing. It is one way how children are abused. And then the other one is harassing. With the harassing, someone just shouts at you. Hey, someone shouts at you seriously. So this is what we call harassing.
Teacher, I heard.
Okay, that's good. Let's continue. We have another one, which is bad language. Bad language. Someone uses, this is what we call using abusive, vulgar language. Someone uses abusing you in different ways. For me, I don't know how to abuse. I know you guys, how to abuse. For me, I don't know how to abuse, but I know some of you know how to abuse. That is what we call using bad language. Bad language, you can tell to your friend and then your friend gets annoyed. So that is bad language. As simple as that. So it is not allowed anywhere. We don't allow it at school. We don't allow it at home, in church, everywhere you go. Bad language is not allowed everywhere you go. And then you have this one, bad touches. Bad touches. I was telling you that you don't allow anybody to touch you in the private parts. In the parts, there are parts that nobody is supposed to touch. For girls, nobody is supposed to touch your breasts when you grow. Definitely breasts will come. Nobody is supposed to touch. If you allow somebody to touch, then that is what we call bad touches. And it can lead to defilement. If you allow someone to touch you, then it will become what we call defilement. It can lead to defilement. So that one, bad touches, don't allow. Don't allow anybody to do that. And then we also have banning. We have banning. We have banning. Banning is one of the ways it is bad for you to ban the child. It's bad for you to ban the child. As simple as that. It is very bad for you to ban the child. Maybe like there are some people when the child takes something, a child has eaten something, maybe you have eaten food without getting permission. You have eaten food, the mother had told you don't eat that food, and then you eat the food. When she comes back, she burns your hands because the hands are the ones that did bad things. She burns the hands, and then like that, you get affected. So banning a child is not allowed. It's not allowed. As simple as that. So let's continue. It is not allowed. We also have what we call corporal punishments. Corporal punishments. This one is common. Some people like beating so much. Maybe at school, you've gone to school and then they beat you badly. That one is what we call corporal punishments. And it is not allowed. It is not a good thing. Children can be disciplined. A child can be disciplined. If a child does something wrong, we can show you the right way. Because even the Bible says, Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6 says, train up a child in a way he or she should live, so that when they grow, they do not depart from it. So sometimes we can train you in the way you should live. So corporal punishments is not allowed. Overbeating the child is not allowed.
Teacher, what is corporal punishment?
Corporal punishment simply means overbeating. Overbeating.
I sent to you a message. I sent you a message about what is abusing.
Hey,
I sent you a message.
Yeah, I saw the message, but the message is what you've written is a different thing. You've said what is amusing. but we are talking about abusing. And when
I know that what was abusing.
Abusing, when we started, we looked at abusing. We said that abusing simply means mistreatment. It simply means mistreatment, as simple as that. It simply means mistreatment, as simple as that. We need to move on and go. And meanwhile, I also want to say that those who have just joined today, make sure you submit in. If you've never submitted in your contact, your parents' number. We need your parents' number so that we can call you for the next engagement. We are not going to call those who are not going to give us their numbers. You have to give us your number so that we can call you. So where do you put this number? You're going to type the number in the chat. You give us your parents' number. You put there your name plus your parents' number so that when it is time for a lesson, we can easily call you.
Teacher.
We can easily call you. Please raise up your hand. Raise up your hand first before speaking. You first raise up your hand. Don't just speak because you'll cause noise. Yes, let me give chance to Pop. Those who have raised their hands, I will ask you to speak. Yes, Pop.
Teacher.
Yes?
My mother never told me her phone number because I'm too young.
No, you ask her to give you the number because that is the number we shall use to call her to let you know that there is a lesson going on. She will give you and then you type in, or she will come and type in the number there. As simple as that. I see still Christabella. Christabella, can you say something? Christabella. She's not speaking. Okay.
Teacher.
Yes.
Teacher. What is bad tortures?
Please read the word very well. Up to now, you don't know how to read the word. I explained this. It means you
What
are not
is
attending.
bad touches?
I explained this, and it seems you were not attentive, and yet we need to move on. I don't like people who are not attentive. You must be able to listen. I have already finished all those words. I already looked at all those words, but I'm just going to repeat for your sake. So we say that bad touches is when someone touches your private parts. Those private parts include the breasts. And also if you're a boy, someone is touching your penis or the vagina, the anus, those are parts that nobody is supposed to touch. So that one, if you allow someone to touch your breasts, touch your penis, touch your vagina, that one is what we call bad touches. As simple as that. And then I was talking about corporal punishment. This is over beating. As simple as that. So we need to move on because our time is done almost. Our time is done. And then we also have things like threatening. Someone can threaten you. Threatening is the same as teasing or harassing. Teasing and harassing someone who is writing on my screen. If I can easily put you off, please don't dare do that. Because we are not here to play. Don't do that. So we have threatening. I was telling you that this one is like harassing the child or teasing the child. It is one way how children's rights are abused. Then lastly, child labor. Lastly, child labor. With the child labor, a child like you goes to town to sell water, to sell mangoes, to go for bricklaying, and so many other activities. Yes, Israel. Your hand is up. Israel. If you have something to say, you unmute, then you speak. Okay. I think he doesn't have anything. So let's move on. There is another thing that we need to look at. That is child labor, activities done by children to earn money. Can we get in the chat and write those activities? What are those activities that children can do in order to get money? Activities children can do to get money. I see some have provided us with their numbers. Thank you so much for that. Those who have not done so, make sure you also do so, because we are left with around 8 minutes or even less to go. Let's get in the chat and write there the activities done by children to earn money. Yes, Miriam. Miriam, your hand is up. Activities done by children to earn money. Nobody is giving these activities. Let's have a look at them. Rafa said to sell charcoal, but the spelling of charcoal is not correct, but good answer. Okay, let's take a look at this child labor. Activities done by children in order to get money. These activities include, we have charcoal burning. This is what Rafa said. The spelling of charcoal burning, charcoal is spelled like that. We have
mangoes. Okay,
carrying heavy loads is another one.
I want to say selling mangoes.
Okay, right. S. Be fast. S. LL.
There, can you mute your microphone? Okay. Being vendors, a child selling tomatoes, polythene papers in town. We also have fishing. We go to the lake and do the fishing. All those activities are the activities that you can do to earn money. And when you do that, that is what we call child labor. It is one of the ways of abusing children's rights. Looking after animals is one of the ways how children labor to get money. Being maids or servants, work in a quarry. This is what we call breaking stones in a mountain or in the rock. That is what we call work in a quarry. And then lastly, we have bricklaying. If a child gets involved in bricklaying, that one is child labor. Is child labor. As simple as that. So we also have a few questions that we shall be doing as our activity. And the questions are here. There are just 3 questions. The first one is, what is child abuse? List any 3 ways children are mistreated in your community. And then lastly, mention any 2 activities that children do to earn money. As simple as that. So those are the ways, rather, that is what we intended to look at today. Starting with child abuse, we said that this is the mistreatment of children by adults. And we also looked at the ways how children are mistreated. We looked at very many ways. And lastly, we have also looked at the activities done by children to earn money. We have successfully come to the end of this engagement, but I see Nondo's hand up. Please. Yes. Nondo, you have your hand is up. If you have something to say, you can say.
I put it up by accident. Sorry, teacher.
Sorry? Okay, so let's move on. So I was telling you that that is what we wanted to look at today. I think I want to appreciate everyone for making sure that you do attend this engagement. Thank you so much for those who have been able to ask questions. Thank you. For those who have answered different questions, thank you so much for doing that. Yes, please.
Let's go back to the previous page.
God bless you,
I have an
teacher.
announcement to pass on.
God bless you, teacher.
Yes, can we first listen? There is an announcement, please. We
God
have
bless
something.
sharing.
Teacher.
Stop sharing briefly.
Okay.
God bless you, teacher.
Okay. Let's first listen.
Okay, good afternoon, colleagues. We are minded not to miss tomorrow's session. We have a guest speaker who is supposed to talk to us about having purpose and remaining focused amidst the COVID-19 and the rest. Then we also have another session on Thursday, how to effectively research on the internet. Let's not miss those sessions. We are all invited, parents and learners. Let's be there in time. Thank you. We shall continue to communicate in the groups.
Okay, thank you so much, Bernard, for that wonderful announcement. So let's make sure that we attend tomorrow at that time so that we get